So my mom and dad are wonderful people. I love them dearly. And my dad came into my life when I was around 3 years old. And he married my mom shortly thereafter. And they're amazing people. The funny thing about it is that, well, there's a lot of, I think, funny things about my mom and dad, but there was an 18-year age difference between them when they were married, and it's still 18-year age difference between them. Funny how that still works out, right? Um, but I must say, as my parents age and get older, age difference is more pronounced. And particularly now that I'm working in the field of probate, helping families through the probate process, helping families deal with the real estate that may be involved, I'm gaining more insight and exposure to what can happen when a loved one passes away unexpectedly or passes away without the much needed safety net behind, particularly if one of those spouses was the primary breadwinner and then they pass away. And I think about that often with my parents and making sure that we have conversations and have things set in place to take care of whomever, if one person passes away or the other. Hopefully they'll live continued long life, but the reality is that that's part of life, and we should be able to prepare for that. So today we're going to talk about year's allowance and what that looks like if you may find yourself in a situation or know someone in a situation that needs funds during the probate process. We're going to talk about what the state of North Carolina allocates and a couple of other options that are outside of the local or state level government. All right. Courtney Rollins here with Life and Transitions Experts podcast. Would love for you to hit that like and subscribe. And as I said earlier, I work primarily with families in Durham, North Carolina in the probate process. So much of my conversations or content that I put out here is related to the probate world, but it connects larger to anyone who's going through big transitions such as that requires planning for their estate, as well as preparation to make sure that they're ready for that. So that's what we do on this podcast here. And I must say that I'm not a lawyer and I'm not a financial advisor, so I'm not offering any advice in those realms, but I am sharing my experience and hopefully helpful, useful tools that help guide you along the way in your step. So to apply for a year allowance, and that's what it gives you about a year's worth of allowance. An applicant must submit what's called application and assignments year's allowance form. It's the AOCE 100. You're going to file that with the clerk down there in the Durham County Court Office. And I must pause here. This is particular to Durham, North Carolina, but so many probate issues and cases and principles apply across different jurisdictions and across different states. But of course, make sure you're checking in with a great lawyer or a state professional or a vetted probate expert, well, sort of like me. And if you need help finding someone, reach out. I can connect you to our nationwide vetted directory of professionals in this field. And so when you send it down to the clerk's office, they're going to hold a hearing based on that, and they're going to decide whether or not the allowance will come in the form from the cash or personal property or some combination, but it will not include the real estate. So the allowance won't come from any of the funds from the real estate. So please be aware of that in North Carolina. Now, this allowance must be paid back as the priority claim. So when there's claims against the estate, someone is a debtor and is owed funds from the estate, this is the one going to be paid first before anyone else gets paid, which makes sense because it's the clerk's office or the government giving it to you, and they want to make sure they get their funds back. And at the time of this, the spousal allowance is $20,000 for a surviving spouse. If the descendant died on or before December 31st, 2023, and they have upped that to $30,000 for any surviving spouse if the person passed away after January 1st, 2014. If they died before December 1st, 2013, excuse me, in my 23 stage. So let me say that over again. It's $20,000 if the surviving spouse is here and the descendant passed away before December 31st, 2013, and is up to $30,000 if they passed away after January 1st, 2014. And there's an allowance of $5,000 that may also be available if they have a surviving child that is dependent of that descendant. Okay, and this must be filed within a year of the death of the descendant. All right. So let's check it out. What are some of the situations that will allow for a year's allowance? The descendant must have resided in North Carolina and left a surviving spouse or an eligible child. And the descendant has personal property located in North Carolina, and the surviving spouse is a North Carolina resident. So those are two situations where in North Carolina, you'll be able to do those. There's other states that may be a little different. So make sure, again, you're checking your jurisdiction, your area. The filing cannot be used when it's been more than 12 months since the date of death. So unfortunately, if you waited longer than a year, then you won't be eligible, or 12 calendar months. And if the descendant left no spouse or no child who would be eligible for allowance, then they're not going to, of course, give an allowance if it's not a spouse or a direct child. Now, again, there's some steps for processing. It's a pretty simple steps. Here's a couple things you may want to think about having already in place. And one is the application, the application of assignment, year's allowance, the AOC E100 form. You need to make sure you have a marriage affidavit to prove that you all were married, a family history affidavit, any supporting documents for the descendant's personal property. If there is an original will, make sure that you have that available, and a death certificate. And it costs about $20 filing for this application. And almost anytime you file downtown, there's going to be funds or fees that are processed and required. All right. So that's the year allowance for probate in North Carolina, and particularly in Durham County, North Carolina. Now, there are other services out there. There are probate cash advance services, and you could Google and find a ton of them will come to you. I know several that have helped families out in many situations. Now, these funds tend to be very costly. Like if you're taking out $5,000, they may charge $2,500, so you're paying back $7,500. That's pretty costly. Sometimes up to 100%. Take out $5,000, you're going to pay $10,000 back. That's very costly. However, at different times, if you are really in need of it and you use it for something that's going to help you save money in the long run, or time or headache, you may find it valuable. For instance, you may need funds so that you can hire a proper attorney to make sure that you are doing this properly and going through the probate process appropriately and properly. Or you may use the funds to rehab a portion of the property or other personal property that you're going to end up selling, so that you can have funds to pay off the debtors or share inheritance and things of that nature. And so having funds available to go ahead and create opportunity for more funds is maybe a viable option for you. Of course, this is our wheelbarrow. So if you want any help or support, then definitely reach out to stateproservice.com. And we'd love to work with you, love to help you out there. And again, this is the Life and Transitions Experts podcast. Would love to interview you if you are a professional in the world. Maybe you're a state attorney, or maybe you're a probate attorney, or maybe you're a real estate professional that helps families and folks through these transitions. Would love to chat with you. We go live every Wednesday and have different folks on here. And every other day, it's me sharing some of my insight, really studying and learning the probate process by sharing it with you all. So it's I get to kill a couple birds with one stone. I think that's it for today. All right, folks. Well, it has been a nice winter holiday. I'm ready for this new year to get into gear. So 2023 has some amazing, beautiful, wonderful things ahead. I hope they're amazing for you. I have no doubt they are. Of course, I'm going to ask that you hit that like, subscribe, leave a review. Join us in the Life and Transitions Experts Facebook community, where we share more strategies for helping you grow your business and more strategies to help prepare for and solve those big challenges and transitions in life. Hey, and if you're an investor or a wholesaler or a real estate professional, and you want to dig deeper into helping families and helping people and using real estate as a way to fund and fuel the things you want in life, reach out to me again, Courtney, doreideals.com. I leave tons of scripts and resources and systems out there that are given away. I'm not selling anything. And I would love to share that with you to get your feedback and to hopefully help be a part of your journey. Again, you can go to www.doreideals.com. There are investment opportunities. Love partnering with folks on those. And there's free resources. And we can sit down and chat and just see what's going on and see how we can champion each other's journey. All right. Courtney Rollins, Rising Tides, it lifts all sails.